Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. We are reviewing the UCAN Robot BW Space Pro. This is the Pro version where there's two motors here, so we can do pitch locking. We're going to see definitely in the dive test how stable it is on the side to side. Some of the other ROVs nowadays have motors on the sides as well, vertical motors, but this one does have 1, 2, 3, 4 motors, so pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and unbox this in this review, and then in the next series of reviews we're going to do a pool test, we're going to do a ocean dive test, and possibly some other tests like in the river and stuff. Anyways, let's get started and see what the BW Space Pro underwater ROV is all about. Okay, so a couple of things to note here. I'm not sure why it says optional camera. This does have a 4K camera on the front. This is not the Pro version that has the image tracking. I thought it was going to be, but UCAN Robot actually got back to me and they said, no, this is the version that's just a 4K camera. There is going to be a version that has kind of like object tracking, kind of like what DJI drones do. I was expecting that to be what this one was, but I was a little bit disappointed when they told me, no, this is just a 4K camera. And auto light adjustment if you wanted to, or you can manually adjust the lighting supposedly. Maximum depth of 300 feet, and it has 5 hours of battery life. That's a pretty long dive. It is compatible with Apple and Android, and of course they are calling it an underwater drone. Anyway, let's get this thing out of the box real quick and see what's in here. And this is a two-tiered box. You can see how the underwater ROV is in the bottom here. And then we have all these other peripherals in the top. So let's check out what we have in the top tier first. There's our instruction manual, controller, kind of cool. This is a mini controller. And I should say that UCAN Robot did send me this other controller. This one only does up to a cell phone style clip, like a large cell phone. And I wanted to do a tablet, and they said, okay, well, we'll send you this one, more the advanced controller, where as you can see, you can put a big old iPad in there. Here is the Wi-Fi repeater. Over on the back here, we have some lubricant and extra O-rings. That's always great to have extra parts. USB cables, just a regular micro USB here, and then this is the charger. As you can see, it's got two things coming out of it, so that's great. So we can charge two things at once, the underwater ROV itself and also the Wi-Fi module, since they both have the same connections. The last thing back here, that's going to plug into your wall, little figure 8 plug, which just plugs right into there. Last thing in this top tier box is the Tether reel. Not really a reel, it's just basically a round thing, and a little bit disappointed these guys only sent me a 50-meter tether. Anyway, we need to bring in this other box here. This is the bottom tier, and this is the sub itself, the UCAN Robot BW Space Pro. Let's take this out, get rid of those, and here we go. Here it is. Amazingly awesome, convenient handles all the way around it, and they're kind of guarding the propellers. As you can see, there are propellers in there. There's two propellers on the top. There's our tether connection on the top there. It has this nice black, white, and green tone to it. You can see the intake for the propellers there. Lights on the front, high-powered LED lights, and there is our 4K camera. Down in the description, go ahead and check out the link to this guy and see what all the specs and more info is on it. And this is kind of interesting. So this is like a little afterthought here, it looks like. So this is a little anchor for the tether. So apparently they didn't just want the tether to be all the load being on this here. A little bit unprofessional, but at least they did go ahead and do this, because you wouldn't want all the load to be on this if it's not strong enough. It feels like it's just in the plastic body here that could crack if you had some major tension on it. So at least with this, you have 2 points to anchor to. Spinning it over, and there we go. So we do have a little compartment here, and it's really not accessible. That looks like it's just for production purposes. I don't see any use for that. So there are no buoyancy modules for this, it looks like. So you're going to be stuck just with the buoyancy it has. Usually in other subs there is a saltwater and a freshwater, because saltwater is going to be usually more buoyant. Freshwater, it's going to be less buoyant and sink down, because saltwater has that salinity buoyancy with the salt in it. Possibly more power consumption trying to keep this under the salt water. gosh, also feels like an afterthought. This thing does not snap on very well. So a little bit disappointed there. There's really no reason to even have this little thing on here, because try as I might, that thing is just not really sticking on there. And if anything, it's kind of ruining the little seals here. So a little bit of a disappointment first off on this little cap, and also on this little tether. Just looks like little afterthoughts that weren't perfectly well done. Otherwise, it does look pretty nice. Let's go ahead and check out the controller and the other peripherals really quick. Okay guys, so really the main two things we want to look at is the small controller and the large controller that it comes with before we put the iPad in there, or cell phone. And this one actually looks pretty cool. It's just limited to a smaller phone. So let's see how this whole thing kind of connects. So it looks like this guy does kind of clamp over the entire controller. Actually is a pretty smart way of doing things. That just clips all the way over, and then we push this down, and it actually has a very durable connection. The leverage here is actually pretty darn good. Not only can we put an iPad in here, we can also grab this thing and check it out. It expands, and look at that arm. So this is all the movement we have on this arm. So we have a bunch of possibilities on how to move this thing. So that's great. Anyways, let's go ahead and charge this up. I'm going to put the tablet in here, the iPad, and let's do our first boot up and just see how the screen looks, and if the thing even works out of the water. We're just going to try this first. I do have the other controller charging. It was pretty much dead, that big black controller. So I'm going to try to use my 3D printed little extender bracket and put the iPad on this one. We'll try this one first, and then we will try the other controller. Here we go. And it does sound like this one is going to turn on like some of the older subs right when you plug that thing in. So I'm not sure I like that. There's no way to really turn it off until you unplug it. We'll take the Wi-Fi module here and we'll do the same thing. Plug it in. As soon as we plug it in there, you can see that we are getting some lighting action there. I need to put this little 3D printed guy on here. Put it all in, and there we go. So kind of a makeshift little mount for a tablet, and you can see kind of how precarious that is. This guy just kind of it's not very sturdy, but we're just going to work with what we have here. Turn on the controller as well. So I'm holding in the power, and we're seeing some lights on the controller come up. You need to go to your settings, and we need to link on to our Wi-Fi, and then we're going to need to go to the UCAN. There it is. So you see that UCAN 3716 is mine. Application, and there we go. So it's already saying it's connected to Wi-Fi on the very bottom here. So I'm just going to go connect to device. Nice. Okay, starting the machine. Wow, it's doing an update. Interesting. So I'm seeing a number ticking away on the screen. There's a percentage there updating automatically, which is actually good. You can do it through the app. A lot of these subs have trouble doing updates through the app, and you have to plug it in to your computer, but this is great that it's just doing it this way. 99%, 100%. So the lights are flashing now. You can see those lights flash. Checking sensor status. Okay, there we go. I'm seeing in the background some video. You see that? Slide to unlock device. Wow, that was a very seamless update. So let's talk about the interface really quick. So we have device connected up here in green lettering. We have the compass of the actual controller, and the iPad here is moving around. That's going to be the compass over there of the actual submarine, and let's see what happens when we move that. Yep, so it is corresponding to the movement there. Machine battery power, we have the repeater battery power. There's no percentage, but it does show it's near the top. Count, unlocking the motors, and also some settings here. These are our picture and video icons here. Switching, this is the gallery it looks like, and this would be the camera, and this would be start recording video. By the way, look at that latency. So here we go. So I'm going to move my hand in real time, and you're going to see what that latency is. So we're looking at like about 300 milliseconds. So that's kind of the norm for these type of Wi-Fi connections between the repeater over there and the iPad. Okay, we have this little rocket ship here, speed of the craft. And then we have a little depth meter. Of course, we can't change this, but that's showing us how deep we are. This thing will go down to 300 feet, but not with this tether. This is only a 50-meter tether, of course. This is kind of interesting. Look at this. So this drone, this underwater ROV or drone actually can do the pitching, and it looks like this is how we're controlling it. 45 degrees or up to 45 degrees, and we're going to test that out and see how that all works in the water. Moving on over, we have our lighting here. So let's see how we do this. The lighting is not working because this submarine actually, it has a sensor, so it senses how deep you're going and it turns on the lights as needed. So you can see how I can't really do anything with the lights right here. There is a virtual button, so if you did want to put on some goggles in VR mode, you can go ahead and control it in VR mode. Let's just go in there. You see how the two windows pop up. So you're going to need some like VR goggles with your phone in there to actually work this one. Wi-Fi connection up top, it's just telling us, and then there is the temperature. Looks like it's in Fahrenheit, so that's good for me since I'm in the US. Let's go ahead and go into the options really quick and see what we can do. So we have app control, or let's see if I go to stick control. Wow, okay, I just pressed stick control B and I felt this thing vibrate and it flashed. So now I'm in stick control. That's pretty cool. I think stick control A would be that other controller, that big black one. We'll have to try that. So you have the option to do the app control straight from the iPad or also use the controller. Steering sensitivity, we have our control modes. Wow, so mode 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you have a certain preference on how to control these subs, go ahead and change it. I'm going to leave it on mode 2 for now. Depth calibration, if your depth's off, go ahead and put it probably on the surface of the water and do a calibration. Machine calibration, that's going to do the compass. So make sure you're on like a level surface away from a lot of electronics. Go ahead and do that calibration. That was the main controller icon. Let's go down to the video. Bitrate, we have our record video resolution. Right now it's 4K. Our live video is going to be 1080. I might want to actually down that to 720 just so I'm not using unnecessary bitrate. Live resolution bitrate, so 2 megabits per second or megs per second, and I'm just going to leave it all default. Stabilizer, wow, okay, so this kind of has it. Remember the V6 I just tested? This also has electronic image stabilization, but look what happens if you look at the tether over there on the left and I turn this on. You see how that cropped in? So the only way these things can do electronic image stabilization is by cropping in the picture and then taking that shake out. So it's not going to be quite a wide of a view and not as clear, but at least you're going to have some stability. You can do color adjustment, light, contrast, saturation, sharpness. Turn the stabilizer off for now. You do have a bunch of options for white balance. Gosh, this is only going to be used underwater, so wouldn't that be what you wanted? I don't know. We'll just try that, I guess. So I don't know what the night cut's really all about, but I guess we'll find out if we ever do any night diving with this one. Image enhancement, 2D noise reduction mode. So there's quite a bit of dynamic adjustment here. Image enhancement. Okay, so it has a defog. That's interesting. So maybe it's murky and foggy in the water. You can try that, or you can restore factory settings. So a lot of camera options, which is good. Let's see what's up with the battery. I actually have not charged this yet, so 71% is what they shipped it with. 6400 mAh times 2. Repeater is 78% charged, and the repeater has 11 hours and 15 minutes of runtime left on it. The repeater battery is a 2600 mAh battery. Awesome, so lots of information here. And then the last thing we can click on, this is very similar to DJI, isn't it? Storage space, this is going to be the stuff on the unit. Camera, SD card, store info, usable 100%. There's 64 gigs on the actual sub itself. And then we have our version information. And that's all the options we have, guys. That's basically it. Locking, okay, that just kind of locks the app. And then, of course, this is going to go to, let's see what happens if we go to viewer mode. Handle has been disconnected. Oh, cool. Okay. So this is one of those ones, kind of like, remember the PowerVision PowerRay? You can have multiple smart devices attached to this repeater. And so if you wanted to have one person driving and one person viewing, this one looks like it's going to be a candidate, guys. If I wanted to do a viewer mode, or if I wanted to be a controller mode. There we go. So that actually is a really good feature, and not many of these newer subs have that feature. So very impressed with that, because a lot of people are asking for that. Well, I want to have my family member just hold their iPad and watch me go through the water. You know what I mean? You can do that with this one. That's great. Really quick, let's just run through what some of the keys on this controller do. So I'm pressing the right top trigger. Okay, that's starting video recording up at the top right. I saw this red going there. Press that again, stops video recording. Wow, okay, so there's our light. So since it does have an auto light on or off, it's not letting me turn it on because it's not in the water. So that's one of the features this one has, is it will not let you overheat and damage the lights. Left top trigger, that's taking a photo. Bottom triggers are up and down in the lights. That's kind of interesting. It must have like a light sensor in the camera on the front somewhere, because look, when I put the iPad in front of it and it darkens it up, that light's actually trying to turn on. So that's the auto light feature. That's pretty cool. Anyway, if I press the right on the D-pad, I'm seeing the speed actually. It's kind of hard to see it, but I'm seeing this here go from slow to middle, pressing it again to fast. So that's the speed. Up and down, check this out. So I'm pressing up on this D-pad, and in 5-degree increments, that's nice. It's going ahead and it's going to pitch the sub up to 45 degrees up, and if I press down on this D-pad, 45 degrees down. So that's going to be a test in the pool next. We'll try that out, see how that works. A button, the red button. Wow, that just turned the lights on to 66%. So that's like auto lights on or off. That's kind of interesting. When I press the D for depth, it just highlighted this depth here. So get to the depth you want, press depth lock. It'll lock it there. That's great. Just pressed A again to turn the auto lights off. So I guess they will turn on out of the water. These two buttons here, it looks like they don't do anything. Nope, that button doesn't do anything. And then lock is just to like lock the whole sub in the app. And then of course starting the motors and stuff, you just start pushing the buttons. Okay. Wow, guys, I think that's going to do it for this and this controller. I'm going to go ahead and really quick just try to put on that black controller. Hopefully it's charged enough. Okay, guys, so I got the iPad just clamped into that other controller, the big controller. And look at the room I got on this thing. So it's clamped in, but if I pull these clamps out, I've got just about another inch on both sides. So you could definitely fit in like a big iPad Pro. The other one was press and hold power. This one is press, lights come up, press and hold, kind of like DJI, right? Then we're hearing beeping. Go into stick controller A. It's looking for it. And handle connection. I don't feel any haptic feedback on this one though. There's no vibrations and stuff. Definitely a bigger, more hefty controller. And look at that. It just holds the screen perfectly. So if you do have a larger iPad, guys, go ahead and upgrade and get this version. The only thing I don't like about this are these sticks here. Oops, that just started the motors going. Okay, let's lock this. My goodness. You can actually flip them over if you want more grip and screw them on to the sticks this way. We just started the motors again. But that's kind of a cool option. Geez, okay, stop. That's kind of a cool option where you can flip those over and you have those sharp little thumbsticks if you want more grip. Pressing the A button, that takes a photo, and that actually is staying lit now. That's interesting. Pressing the B button, that's starting our recording. Cool. Pressing it again stops our recording. The D button, that, what did that do? That put us into video stabilize mode. Wow. The C button, that locks our depth. Cool. Not seeing anything going on with this little XY joystick here. Toggle E first. Anything happening here? Don't see anything happening there. Let's do this toggle F. Don't see anything happening there too. There's two more toggles on the very top. Let's do the G on the left toggle from left to right. No traceable target. Okay, so apparently this is kind of like the controller for the Pro tracking camera, because the G it's using trying to trace some kind of target. So I guess in that one maybe you can draw a box like you can with DJI and track an object. Let's try the H. Okay, there are our speed modes changing right here, slow, medium, and fast. And the motors just really go wacko. Let me lock this again. My goodness. So that's a little bit irritating. I wish you could kind of lock the motors, but still look at the app how it is now. Remember guys, this is the Pro base version, so it doesn't have those tracking features. That is hopefully coming soon, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was pretty in depth, and we got to see really everything that you can do with this thing out of the water. In the next couple of videos, don't forget to subscribe, because I'm going to be taking this thing in the pool, doing a pool test, showing it line of sight, how it's moving in still water in a pool. The next test after that is going to be a real world ocean test. I'm either going to take it out of my boat, or maybe we'll try it from the shore, or maybe both, so we can see how it works in both different environments. I will be also testing their Pro advanced version with the image tracking as well. They promised me they'd send me that too, so we can test out. Image tracking is supposed to be kind of cool. You can, kind of like with DJI tracking, you can box around a fish or a turtle, and as long as you're within a certain range of it and it's large enough, this thing will image track ocean, fish, and objects. So that will be pretty darn cool. We're gonna have to test that out. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget links down in the description of everything that's in this video, and also the playlist for this sub. I also do lots of submarines, so don't forget to check out my other playlists for all kinds of subs, like the Gladius, Chasing Innovation series of drones, the QIC series of drones, the Power Vision Power Ray, the new Mito drone. I just got that in. I'm going to be testing that too, the Mito ROV. I also do the Aqua Robot Man. I've done some videos on that too. So the Aqua Robot Man Nemo, that one's also on my channel. So all of those, if you guys are interested in subs, I do a lot of testing on these, and I do them in depth. So don't forget to subscribe guys, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.